The Chicago Bulls are taking on the Orlando Magic today out on the road. Can the Chicago Bulls beat a team that's struggling? We'll see. We'll talk about it all and more, but you know what we got to do first? Go ahead and play that intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, hosted by Haize, your number one spot for all things Chicago Bulls.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. And I noticed the thumbnail's wrong on here. Let's go ahead and update that thumbnail. Got to get that together. I don't know how that happened. There we go. Now we got the right thumbnail in that mug. What's going on, y'all, man? Hey, really excited about this. Bulls Day. Why do you announce yourself? I'm here. Like we've been waiting on you. We've been sitting around waiting on Bulls Daily to show up. Boy, got that Neo complex in this mug. No, just play. Shout out to Bulls Daily. Let's get it, Bulls. Modest dropping 20 tonight. He better goddamn well drop 20 today now. I mean, Modest just needs to continue to play well, right? I think that's what it comes down to. Just play well, figure out his way. It's not like Billy Donovan's running any offense for him, so there's that aspect of things, right? What up, Haize? I feel like it would be a win tonight. Hey, Brandon, let's see, man. One thing you've been following me for a while. I don't predict wins and losses. That's not what we do here, right? Hit the like on the way in, phone them. Nice hat. Thank you for that, Anthony. I like the hat. The bubble letters, same as the bubble letters on the sweater. You gotta do it right. You know, everything has to coordinate. It all has to coordinate, right? Could gain 0.5 game on Toronto with an L, and they play Utah tomorrow, so could gain one full game over these next 2 days on Toronto. Listen, the Bulls are going to be the 10 seed. Like I started to do this thing where it's like let's watch the standings and all that, but when it comes down to it, like the Bulls are going to be the 10 seed. I don't know if any team gets on an enough run and the Bulls out lose any other team to not go into the play-in. The Bulls are going to be in the play-in. I just hope they don't get cute in the damn play-in, right? Just loose? Did you mean lose? Just loose? We don't need to know how your girl is, bro. You don't need to tell us about all. I'm just playing, bro. I'm just playing with you. For anybody get offended, you're not one of the OGs, so I don't know if I can play with you or not without you getting offended. I'm just talking crap, bro. Take a loss to gain the ladder. Yeah, listen, I don't know if the Bulls will, though. I have no idea. Now, they're going to come out and compete, and they should have no problem losing this game. The Orlando Magic are a better team, so let's hope that's the case. Is Giddey, Lonzo, and Kevin still out? Let's take a look. I have not looked at an updated injury report because it's the Chicago Bulls. You just never know, G Money. Let's see. Do we have an updated report on who's in, who's out today? Let's take a look. I don't see anything. So see if we get an announcement while we're here. Ball is out. Yeah. That shouldn't be too surprising. So I mean, and the thing that I look at it with is with these injuries, no matter who's in or who's out, it just opens up other opportunities for players, right? Opens up other opportunities for players to get a little bit of run in, gain some XP between here and the end of the season. So not mad at that at all. The way the Bulls are treating injured list, like they're starting to do what the other bottom teams are doing, which is tons of injury. Yeah, I mean, listen, and that's what they should do, right? Anytime that there is a remotely an injury, I don't give a damn if somebody stubs that has an ingrown toenail. They should sit in the game. They should sit in the game. Look at this motherfucker. Where the hell you been at all season, you dread-headed bastard? Ashley says, what's good, fam? What's going on? Kevin Huerter is out. Where are you guys seeing this? I don't see this reported anywhere. Not that I doubt. I'm not saying that like I doubt y'all. It's just, it is what it is, I guess. The draft is what, May 12th, right? A little two months away from the draft lottery. That's May 12th. We know exactly where the Bulls are going to pick then, which is what a lot of people are looking for and waiting for to see what the Bulls are going to where they're going to pick. Kevin Huerter and Giddey playing. So where did Anthony get that Kevin Huerter is out from? See, where do y'all be getting this stuff from? Don't check ESPN. ESPN don't be knowing what the hell's going on. Not this close to the game time. So Giddey is questionable. Huerter is available. All right. What's good, fam? Through my trust in still gone with this franchise, been the case for several years. After Tibbs and D Rose, we've been putrid. I feel very optimistic with our future because of the youth with the roster. Yeah, we'll see what the future holds, man. I mean, listen, this Bulls team is far away from doing anything meaningful, right? We're just far away from that. And that just kind of is what it is at this point. That's the stage that the Bulls are in right now, right? But you can still grow towards the future. You can still develop, right? Those are still the important things for the team. And we'll see what the future holds there. How's Vooch still out? Because it's the end of the season. Vooch is checked out, and Vooch is probably just hoping the Bulls find him a nice trade destination at the end of the season. So, that's what it is. People, Zoe, and Vooch are out. Good stuff. Good stuff. Trey Johnson would be great. I agree. I think the fit with Malik does make sense in theory. However, I think at this stage, AK needs a guaranteed guy that can afford to swing and miss again. Completely agree with you, Cooks. Like, so, listen, if you're going position of need, Kaman Malik, Derek Queen, Asa Newell, these guys make a lot of sense. And depending on where the Bulls draft at, right? That's why I formed that question as if under the framework that if the Bulls do somehow get in the top 5, right? That's the guy that if they're 5 to 10, right? I think that's the guy that you want to draft is Trey Johnson. He has a higher upside than Malowick, a higher upside than Derek Queen, even though I know the position of need is center. You want to go with the player that has the best star potential, and Trey Johnson has a chance to be an absolute stud at the NBA level. As you think it might be a long time for the Bulls to compete again? Facts. I've said that before. Jeremy, why do you come in here asking the same questions all the time? You've asked me this. I've answered it, my brother. Yes, it's going to be a long time. The Bulls, unless Modest and the player that the Bulls pick this year, unless they turn into star level players within the first 2 or 3 years of their career, the Bulls are about 3, 4, 5 years away from being truly competitive. The way that I view competitive is that they can win a playoff series, right? So, that's it is what it is at that point, right? I think the Bulls are going to be around the same level for a while. And yeah, that's just what I think. It don't matter. We ain't drafted an all-star since D Rose. How are you gonna sit there and lie when we drafted Jimmy Butler? You just gonna lie? Yo, hope everyone good. What's up with Lonzo? Still his wrist? Yeah, probably still the wrist injury. Neither of those guys I'll take at whatever spot, not the top 4. Yeah. Come on, Derek Queen. Yeah, those guys. If you're anywhere between 6 and 10, then you're looking at the Derek Queen, the Asa Newells. You're looking at those guys. We definitely far away. I agree, but my whole point is that we have a solid foundation, aided by the investments in player development staff. Just got to draft correct going forward. I mean, can we say that yet? I get what you're saying. I get what you're getting at, and I hope you're right. Right, but we really can't say that yet. Like a foundation. I don't know if we have that, to be honest with you. Like, we got Modest, who looks like a stud. Josh Giddey's playing extremely well, right? We got to re-sign him, but and we got Io too. But Julian and Dalen have not proven themselves to be anything substantial yet. I hope that they still can. Kevin Huerter and Zach Collins. I mean, by the time we are actually competitive, I doubt either one of them are on the team. Kobe, we don't know what the future holds for Kobe yet. So it's still a bunch, and that's kind of what I talked about on today's episode. Like, we got some talent. Make no mistake about it. We got talent on the roster, but their future with the Bulls are still hugely in doubt. We still got big questions on who's actually going to be here in the future for the Bulls. What up, Haize? How about that Daredevil series? Solid, solid. I like the first 2 episodes a lot. I think Bulls should get a hold of all 3 players we got for Zach trade. Should hold all 3 players we got for Zach trade. Look good with this squad. Yeah, but unfortunately, you got to make space. The Bulls, the only free agents that we have right now are THT, Josh Giddey, and Trey Jones. Right. We got 2 draft picks coming in this year. One that the second round pick could be signed as a 2-way. You can sign them to a 2-way contract. You don't have to give a second round pick an actual contract, but you still got to make way. If you're re-signing Josh Giddey, boom. If you're your first round pick, you got to make room for that. So I just don't know. I would love Trey Jones to stay on this team. I really like the Trey Jones minutes. I would rather have Trey Jones on your bench than Javon Carter. I just don't know if the Bulls are going to be able to keep that. I just don't know. Do you like THC being? Come on, bro. What or go at THC or Mello? Jeremy, I'm about to put you in timeout, bro. Haize, what's your take on Jeremiah Fears, and would you draft him at 7 and 8 and let Giddey walk and trade Kobe White for assets? No. You're listen. No, I don't. And that's not a knock on Jeremiah Fears, but he's not the level of player where you're like, oh, let's let Giddey walk and trade Kobe because you got Jeremiah Fears. No, not at all. And that's going to be a reach. Fears is probably not going to go above 12. That's probably where he's going to go in the draft. And again, that the draft position doesn't necessarily mean that he can't still turn into a hell of an NBA player. I think players all the way down that get drafted around 20 can turn into consistent starters. But I don't look at Jeremiah Fears as the player that's worth at 6'1". He measured with shoes on. I'm sorry, barefoot. I don't know. I know he's listed on ESPN at 6'3", but the last time he was measured, he came in at 6'1". I don't know if he's that level of point guard. From your first initial reaction to the Giddey trade now, do you feel any different about it? Has Josh changed your opinion at all? I was favorable on the Josh. If you go back and look, when the Josh Giddey trade went down, I'm like, this makes sense for the Bulls. You get a 22-year-old point, I think 21 at that point, year-old point guard. That's shown a lot. It's not that I was negative on Josh Giddey. I was negative on the trade, meaning that I think we could have got more back for Caruso. But I think at that time I was like, well, Josh Giddey is a player that you this is the type of player, if you're going into a younger, this is the type of player you want to take a shot at. Now, at the beginning of the season, probably through the first 15 games or so, I'm like, hey, this Josh Giddey kid is not playing good at all. But I think how he's come out of that is definitely kind of opened my mind a little bit more on what he could be. So Billy D will speak on everyone's shortcomings except for his own, and I think it loses the locker room and therefore stunts growth because they will not fight in the teachable moments of adversity. I think here's the thing. Billy Donovan in the media, he defends his players a lot, right? And I think the players have more respect for Billy Donovan than what we have as fans, right? And I think he holds himself accountable in the locker room. Keep in mind, what we see as fans and coaches and even players talking to the media is a very small fraction of their relationship and what happens indoors, right? And from everything that I've gathered, the players really still do like Billy Donovan. Should they? That's a story for another day, right? But I don't know if I could say that Billy's lost the locker room yet. I do know that we have had concerns of playing with heart throughout most of the season. And again, I'm not a Billy Donovan supporter. I would love to see Billy Donovan fired and a new coach coming in here, right? At this point, Javon Carter's getting a triple-double is much more likely than the Bulls becoming a significantly competitive team. That's crazy. That's crazy. Sucks we don't get to see Modest versus Franz. They play so similarly. I don't think that. Like I think Modest is already a considerably better dribbler than Franz has ever been. I think I guess in attacking the rim, but Modest is a lot more athletic, and I think Franz is a lot more methodical in the way that he goes about it. But outside of them both being foreigners, I just don't see a lot of comparisons there. Occasionally, Billy will say they have to do better getting guys ready, but that's about it. Yeah, I mean, and I think he just doesn't throw his coaching staff or his players really under the bus much, right? He does that. There was a time earlier this year where he kind of threw Patrick Williams under the bus, and I was a little bit surprised by that. But other than that, like Billy Donovan's been pretty solid in that one. How many wins do you think the Bulls will end on? And in that case, what seed do you think will? Well, we're not getting out the 10th seed. So there you go on that one. We're going to be the 10th seed regardless. I think on the last stream, when I went by game, I came up with 32 wins. 32. I started off coming into the season saying between 32 and 35 wins. But I think now at this point where the season is, I think about 32 wins is probably what we're looking at saying. Franz and Modest are playing tonight. Yeah, I thought so. You're just, yeah, and that's something I've said before too. We got to stop thinking that we can only compare white players to white players, because some of the comps people give for Cooper Flagg, I'm like, either you haven't watched Cooper Flagg play basketball at all, or you just feel like you can only compare Cooper Flagg to other white players. Like, and that's something like with the way the modern place that the game is in, right? And I gotta say this, and this is not meant to be racist. Don't report me. White men can jump. White boys can jump. So the time period where it used to be like we can only compare white players to white players, like there are a lot of highly athletic white players in the league now. Like we got to stop comparing white people to white people. Like we just got to stop thinking that you can only compare white players to white players, foreign players to other Europeans. Like we just got to stop that. We got to stop that. Yeah, maybe you're right. I was looking at it from a fan's lens. Also, recently they have been fighting, so that's not fair. Prior, they didn't because the roster was so stagnant. Yeah, I mean, early in the season, the lack of heart was evident in every game they played, every time they took the court. Right, I talked about it in the game, for example, against the Cavs. Right, the Cavs went on a run there at the end of the second quarter, and then on a run to begin the third quarter. Earlier in the season, the Bulls would have just packed it in. They would have got frustrated. They would have started playing stupid. They would have started playing for themselves. Despite being down a bunch of players with injury, the Chicago Bulls went on more runs, and they got that game close, and it was tied in the fourth quarter. We haven't seen a lot of that from this Bulls team this season. So when you do see it, it is special still, right? If you can pinpoint one glaring need on the roster, is it still a lack of three-point shooting or not enough size? You could only address one specific area of concern and need going into the summer. Talent. I know that's a cop-out. Talent. That's what I target in the team. Talent. High-level skill. That's what I'm targeting. But no, if you're asking, three-point shooting, I don't think is as much as what it is, as what it was like coming into this season. Size, I can't say size is like this huge thing either anymore. I think that we need to play more traditional size, right? Like you could have a front court of I know Patrick's out right now, but you could be playing Pat or Modest at the 3 and the other one at the 4, or Julian. Like, but we don't do that, right? Because we don't play traditional lineups. Hell, you could play if Billy Donovan wanted to get fancy and actually force other teams to play our lineup, you could play Modest at the 3 and Jalen Smith at the 4 with Zach Collins at the 5. Now you do run into no bigs coming off the bench at that point in time, but so I think overall, like now. And it's funny enough to say this, right? It's really funny. I think now that we do have Josh Giddey here and the three-point shooting has been okay this season, I honestly think we need a better isolation scorer. Like, it's crazy to say that, right? Like, when you look at the Bulls still to this day, when we're forced in the half court to slow things down in a time period where you do need a half court scorer, we don't have that. Like, Kobe's not consistent with it, right? Now, he could be that guy, but he hasn't been consistent with it, not this season. And I think that's a huge thing this team does need. What's up, hey? See Red, go Bulls. When we trade Vooch, should we aim for players or picks? Picks at this point. Everything's with picks. And yes, I'm going to Modest is a better dribbler, but didn't want to be seen as crazy. Modest seemingly is more physical in my opinion. Listen, I mean, let's have that conversation, right? Even if you want to have the conversation with Modest rookie year versus Franz rookie year, right? Let's just say if you wanted to have that part of the conversation, Modest is a better dribbler. I think Modest is a better defender. Hell, you could make the conversation that Modest may be a better defender than Franz right now, right? But he's a better defender definitely than what Franz Wagner was his rookie year, right? Franz's athleticism doesn't come close to Modest. And I'm not saying this to say that Modest is a better player than rookie Franz. I'm just saying that there are areas of the game, especially when you look at what can make him a better basketball player going forward, that Modest is starting off at a better base than what Franz started out at. If Modest gets that three-point shot together, and I've said this, kind of the same thing I say about Josh Giddey. Modest doesn't need to turn into some 38% three-point shooter, right? Some 40% three-point shooter. If Modest can turn into let's say he takes 3 to 5 threes a game and hits that at least a 36% clip because of his ability to put the ball on the floor and dribble, because his ability to his speed, his quickness, his ability to be a leaper, it makes you be able to have to guard him at all three levels. Now, Modest is not a good mid-range shooter. We don't see very much mid-game for Modest at all. It's either three-point shooting or it's at the rim. But because of his quick first step, you have to play him even in the mid-range, because if he is in the mid-range, he's one step away from the basket. That's an alley. That's a huge dunk, right? So you can force players, without being an actual three-level scorer, you can force teams to have to play you as a three-level scorer with the way that Modest plays the game of basketball. He just got to get that three-point shot consistent. If he gets that three-point shot consistent, I'm telling y'all, the rest of Modest's game is going to open up. Is there any chance the Bulls will look to retain Tre Jones this offseason? Not unless the only way that they look to trade I'll give you a bunch of scenarios, right? Is that Kobe's move, Lonzo moves, Javon Carter's traded as part of the Vooch trade. One of those three are Lonzo's. Did I say Lonzo? Kobe's traded, Lonzo's traded, or Javon Carter's moved as part of the Vooch trade. If any one of those three players somehow is not on the roster by time free agency opens, meaning that you've traded Nikola Vucevic at the draft or before the opening of free agency, you've traded Lonzo Ball because the team came calling or whatever else it is, then I can see Tre Jones sticking around. If all three of those guys are still on the roster at the start of the season, Tre Jones is going to be gone, just because of the nature of, you got to create spots for other players. You got 2 draft picks coming in. You got to create spots for those guys, right? So that's the way that I view it. Now watch the Bulls trade Nikola Vucevic, and they're like, boom, we traded Vooch. We can re-sign Trey Jones. And it's like, okay, Bulls, double down on guards yet again. Here we go. What were the Luka comps when he came into the league? I don't remember. I'm not even going to faint like I remember the Luka comps. I honestly don't remember. Haize just imagine if we had a much better coach, we probably would have one last game. Probably. But I mean, also the Cavs are just a better team too, though. If we get a chance to draft inside the top 5, do you take VJ Edgecombe, assuming Flag, Bailey, and Harper are gone? How do you view him next to Giddey and Modest? I'd said this on today's episode. If the Bulls, you're basically saying if the Bulls draft 4th, I'm sorry. I'm still taking Tre Johnson over VJ Edgecombe at this point. I think VJ Edgecombe is one of those players that he has a huge upside. Make no mistake about it. And VJ Edgecombe was one of the guys coming in to this draft this season that I was like, hey, I would love him on a Bulls uniform. But Tre Johnson, to me, I think he has a higher upside than VJ Edgecombe at this point, personally. Is it just me, Haize? But I feel like we deserve a high pick for once. Viewership dropping, and all the other teams have had their shot at building superstars through. We need an Adam Silver gift. That's crazy. We'll see. Let's go Bulls Nation. What's going, Haize? All love, brother. Hope all going well. Josh Giddey been cooking. Sign him to a 3-year deal. I don't like, why sign him to 3? If you are confident in Josh Giddey, why not sign him to the full 5 years? He's 22 years old, right? Why not lock him into his prime? That's just my personal opinion. But we'll see what the Bulls do. I can see like a 3+1, something like that. Haize, over under 25.5 points, Kobe points plus assist. Man, he's so inconsistent, man. I say that's a safe over. I guess you're right. I was just under the premise that we still lack size, but Donovan doesn't play traditional rotations. The roster is incomplete, but we do have some answers. Billy is dumb. Yeah. I mean, we still need to answer the rim protection, which maybe Modest is the answer to rim protection, right? But the question is there that you also have to ask is like, if Modest is your rim protector, can you play him at the 3? Do you have to play him at the 4? Because you need him closer to the rim, right? So there's that question you need to ask there as well. Yeah, was wondering the Luka comps because seems like he blew them out of the water, right? Let's see if I can let's see if I can find. I don't know if like archive. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Ooh. So NBADraft.net, which is a site that I do like, they had Luka's comps listed as Tony Kukoc and Hito Turkoglu, which aren't necessarily bad comps. I don't think they're bad comps. Well, keep in mind too, you said if he blew him out the water, comps aren't to say that this is the player you're going to turn into. Comps are more to say this is the skill set that you have, right? I think a lot of people look at comps and somebody's like, oh yeah, he drew Kobe Bryant comps, and they're like, oh my God, so he's going to be one of the best players of all time. That's not necessarily what comps mean. Comps mean, because keep in mind, skill set and caliber are two very different things. You can have a Kobe Bryant skill set, but that doesn't mean you're going to be the caliber of Kobe Bryant, right? Caliber is a different thing. You can't take caliber into consideration because that comes down to mindset, work ethic, right? Drive, a lot of intangibles. But you can look at a player and say that they have similar skill sets, if that makes sense, right? I just hope Modest develops a post move like Dirk Nowitzki fadeaway. I mean, he does have the size to develop something like that, right? Especially like when you look at his wingspan and stuff. I don't think max deals mean shit anymore because players always asking for trades. If you do 3 years and he progresses good, then on the 3rd year, sign him to a max. I'm not saying max money. I'm talking about max years, right? I'm not saying max money. I'm saying max years. If you sign him to a 3-year contract and if he outplays it, he can demand more money on the market. See, you're talking about money. I'm not talking about money, right? But also keep this in mind. If you sign him only to a 3-year contract and he ends up, let's say over that he does turn into a star. What if the Bulls are still losing in 3 years, right? And then he says, hey, listen, I've turned into a star. I'm going to go to this other team, right? You got to look at that as well. To be honest, I'm trying to find a guy who compares to Modest in terms of comparison and play style of a non-white player. I think he's a mix of Wilkins and Lamar Odom. Yeah, that I think you can compare him to a more athletic, less defensive version of Lou on offense. Trying to think who else, some good comps for him. I have to sit down and really go into the bag. You know what? You know who's honestly a good comp for Modest Bucilis? He's Rasheed Wallace with a better dribble. Especially if his 3-point shot turns out, he's Rasheed Wallace with a better dribble. Okay, I feel you, Haize. Oh no, you're good. Like, and listen, I'm just giving my opinion. In no way am I saying that like mine carries more weight than you. No way am I saying that. Like I do not mean. I know I talk very like direct, right? But when I don't ever mean it like, oh, I got this figured out. You don't. Like I never mean that. I learn stuff from you guys every single stream. The white on white comparisons don't bother me. I suffer from honky. He said it. He said it. He said honkyitis. And I'm concerned because I read it as honkyitis with not a hesitation. That's crazy. Although as the league has become more European, we need to come up with better scouting skill sets for players. It's crazy. That's honky. That's crazy. That's crazy. Your caliber skill set breakdown was the best way I've heard anyone explain it. Yeah, I mean, and I'll admit this, right? A moment of transparency. I don't think before I started this channel and I started doing high level draft analysis that I've ever been able to explain it that way, right? I think in me like doing this job now and in the offseason, how deep, and I don't know if this is your first year following the show, but like how deep into the weeds I get during my draft analysis is when I started to look at that. I started looking at it like, all right, bet, like he has this player skill set. I don't know if he's going to turn into the caliber player he is, So I think it just takes a lot. That's just something that a level of awareness that came with me as I started doing this, right? All these small market teams that have signed their one main guy, they may end up regretting and having to trade down the road. The type of guy maybe the Bulls can add in 2026 offseason trade. The Bulls are setting themselves up for the summer of 2026. Rashard Lewis is not a bad one. We're more athletic. I like that. Call me insane, but I think Modest is the best pick that AK has drafted since facts. 100% facts. 100% facts. I think Josh could develop a post game due to the fact that he's 6'8" at point guard. Well, I think you see all players kind of develop a post game as their career goes on. Like you saw it with Kobe, you saw it with MJ. So yeah, Josh Giddey could absolutely develop a post game show as his career goes on. What are the chances of getting to Portland first? If the Bulls got the 15th pick, who would you trade? Well, they have to make the playoffs for us to get the pick. The Portland protection is the most straightforward one. They got to make the playoffs, not the play in. They got to make the playoffs. And so I just don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. No, I feel you, Haize. I fuck with the podcast heavy because my friends always talk shit when I mention the Bulls, so it sucks. Can't wait till we're contenders again so I can talk my shit facts, bro. Like I 100%. My best friend is a Knicks fan, so like the fact that they're up and we're down right now, man, that's fucking sucks, bro. It sucks. I'm really looking forward to your draft analysis because I'm almost all NFL. So I'm locked in on football analysis, but I'm a deer in the headlights in terms of modern NBA draft analysis. Hey man, I feel you on that. I'm so ready for the NFL draft to just be over and done with, right? Because I'm ready to get that over with. But yeah, we got the draft analysis for the Bulls covered for you. I think last year I covered 32 prospects. I think I covered last year. With the Bulls having a first and second round pick both this year, which is the first year that I think since I've been covering the team, we have a first and second round pick. You're probably going to see about 45 prospects that I cover, if not more. So apologize if you already mentioned it. Anyone back from injury since last game? They said Giddey's available. So I'm waiting on the starting lineup to be announced, but they're saying Josh Giddey's available. I wonder what the distance logged on court comparison is between Vooch and Collins. Could be a glaring difference. That's a number I never thought about looking at, but that's a really good number to look at. What do you think happens when Vooch gets back healthy? Is he starting or coming off the? Oh, he's starting. If he comes back healthy this season, he's going to start. Maybe that first game back, they may bring him off the bench, which is something that we have done before. But I think it's pretty safe he's going to start. Or whatever stat sheet that track. Yeah, I know a website that tracks that. That hoodie. It's a sweater. It's like a crew neck. It's not actually a hoodie, but yeah, this mug is clean. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's clean. Modest comparison may be Scottie Pippen. Oh man. I mean you would have to just be talking about offensively because I don't know if Modest ever turns into the defenders that Scottie was. Yo, saying my best friend is a Knicks fan too, but the Knicks stay losing to contenders, so I'd be talking shit. You got to take your advantage to talk shit where you can talk shit, right? So there you go on that one. Would you move Smith to the starting power forward position if the Bulls draft Kaman and keep Collins? I mean, here's the thing. I don't think that they would start Kaman his rookie year. And maybe they do. Maybe Billy Donovan, Patrick Williams come on, right? And he starts right away. I don't think you start him. So I think at that point, Billy has such a reluctance. He doesn't even play Jalen over 16 minutes. So I don't think that Jalen's going to move into the starting role just because he barely even plays him, even when he could play him more minutes. Modest needs to go on that Giannis transformation. We'll see what he does. It's not going to happen all in one off season, but even if you look at Modest from now, from summer league till now, he's put on probably, I would say, probably a good 5 to 8 pounds of muscle. I would say that Modest is added if you go look at him in summer league to now. Honestly, Vooch needs to be traded this offseason ASAP for me. He doesn't fit the direction of the team is going. Might as well try to pick up a power forward or a center. Hey, listen, a lot of people are going to agree with you on that one, Alex. Haize, I don't believe nobody will be the defender Scottie Pippen was because there's no hand checking now. Well, you know what I mean. What you don't have to, Shay, you get caught up in the weeds sometimes, my boy. Billy Donovan need to leave ASAP. I wanted Kenny Atkinson a couple of years ago, and we picked up this dumbass. I mean, listen, Billy's Billy, man. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But all right, y'all, I'm going to get ready to wrap it up, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back at halftime, so make sure you guys stay locked in with us on that one. You can follow us at Bull Central Pod. Send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and or voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like we like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.